Mbadi, you have vast knowledge in accounts. Before I take a quick break, and Guru is saying that we need a direction. And the president has tabled a finance bill, and in fact now it's in public domain to discuss. Where would you start? What would you recommend?
Actually, you just picked what I wanted to talk about when Governor Matangi said that there is a plan, that they are at the preparatory stage, that the plane is just about to take off. But the question you want to ask, what is the signal? What is the picture? What is there to give us confidence when government policies speak the opposite? And the policy here, you've mentioned one, which is very key, the finance bill. Now, if the problem that Kenyans are facing today is truly the high cost of living, which they expect the head of state and the entire government to deal with, then we expect the finance bill to speak to that. Now, what is our finance bill speaking to? One, on the cost of living. There are amendments, a number of amendments proposed on the VAT Act. And that you look at the second schedule, you find a number of commodities, which are the basic necessities. Some are being removed from zero rating to exempt, simply because the government does not want to make tax refunds. When a commodity is removed from zero rating to exempt, it becomes more expensive. Yes. And what are these items? One of them is pharmaceutical products. Another one is fertilizer. Another one is pest control products. Another one is sugarcane transportation from the farms to the milling corporation. You are making our sugar production more expensive than it is, and we have been complaining that the reason why our sugar is not as competitive as the rest in the region is because we are producing expensively. Now you are making it more expensive. Maize flour, cassava flour, basic things are being removed from zero rating to exempt, meaning you are making the prices more expensive. I will take you further to the amendment on turnover tax. Turnover tax used not to be there. And turnover tax is very simple. It's tax on sales, whether you make profit or not. And the mamambogas, the Juakali people. And it is pegged now, as we speak, at 1 million. Any sales below 1 million, you don't pay turnover tax. Now, what Kenya Kwanza is doing is to reduce that to 500,000 per year, which if you divide by 365 days is 1,370 shillings. So Mama Mboga in Korogocho, Madare Estate, who sells per day is 1,370, is supposed to shed off 3% of that to the government in terms of tax. Even the rate has been increased from 1 to 3%. Our youth who are involved in the digital space, most of them are unemployed. And because they are creative enough, now they have been involved in the digital space and making a living. What do? You introduce, through Clause 2 to the finance bill, you introduce what they call digital content monetization, a 15% withholding tax, discouraging the very, very youth from being innovative, and it flies in the face of the government talking about investing in internet connectivity and generally the digital economy. So what are you doing? You know, the question that I have for Ruto's government is any government, Trevor, and I hope you'll indulge me for just 2 minutes on this, any country in the world, there is clear separation of policies between political parties. If you go to the UK, you will find the Tories are more leaning towards supporting the rich. The Labour is more on the ordinary Labour people. The same with the US, the Democrats and the Republicans. Here in Kenya, I know we have had very little separation in our policies. But the question I would want to ask Ruto, who are you targeting? Because you seem to be hurting everybody. We would be happy if Ruto was hurting the rich and the poor are smiling. But Ruto is going for the rich, those who are earning super salary of 500,000 and above, who we should motivate to create more local demand, because global demand is shrinking. World over, people are encouraging the locals to buy more goods and services because the global demand is shrinking. That is why during COVID, we reduced the tax rates so that people can have more money in their pockets. What Ruto government wants to do is to take money from people's pockets and give to the government to finance extravagance. And I call it extravagance because who forced William Ruto with this state of economy to employ 50 CASs? Uhuru Kenyatta had about just 20-something. I think there were 23. PSS are now 51. They were much less in Uhuru's government. Who has forced him to employ all these people? Wastages. We are seeing wastages at a time when they are the same one who are talking loudly that our economy is in bad state. Yeah. My concluding remark is this. You see, Trevor, the truth is that we are borrowing. Let no one cheat Kenya. In fact, this is another lie that the Kenya Kwanza is again repeating to Kenyans. And they are soon succeeding. They have convinced my governor here that we are borrowing less. Governor, it is not true. And I would tell you from the point of National Assembly, someone who has been involved in budget-making process, it is not true. We are borrowing the same way we were borrowing during Kenyatta's regime. So let nobody lie to anyone that this government is now stopping borrowing. That is not correct. So what I want to leave it at the point where I would ask, when Kibaki came into power in 2002, immediately there was free primary education. Yeah. Immediately. So you cannot tell us that within a few 8 months, what is it that Ruto has done in 8 months? Hustler fund? Okay. What is it? Right. Can you just tell us concretely?
I'll take a commercial break.